You don't want to be running helter-skelter after 12 months. There can be fine buildings, fine, beautiful apartments in a very ras location. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nita Mary, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys things that you should consider before moving into an apartment. So as someone who just moved into her apartment, these are what I considered or what I put into consideration while I was searching for an apartment and house hunting. So these are the things that I put into consideration and I feel like would be helpful to someone out there that is house hunting or looking into moving into an apartment. So if you are currently house hunting, moving out and moving into a new space, then this video is definitely for you. Before we get into this video, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up and also leave a comment for me below. Also leave a comment on the things that you also think that are very necessary to consider before moving into an apartment. So with that being said, let's dive right into this video. So the first thing to consider is definitely your budget, the price. How much is your budget? How much do you make? How much do you intend to put into the apartment? You need to ask yourself, how many years are you going to stay in this apartment? How many years do you intend to live in this apartment? And how much is the apartment? How much do you have? What is your budget for this apartment? And if you intend to stay there at least 2 years, I'd say if you're giving yourself 2 years because you don't know where life is going to take you, I personally would advise that you have rent for 2 years at least, because you can't just pay for 1 year and then the next year you start running helter-skelter trying to borrow money to pay for that apartment, and it just doesn't make sense to have just the budget for only 1 year. Also, when it comes to decorating the apartment, making it livable, you have to consider how much you're trying to put into this space, how much you have, how much you can put in. Are you able to pay for more than 1 year? You don't want to be running helter-skelter after 12 months of living in that place. And please cut your clothes and also cut your clothes according to your size, because if you don't cut your clothes according to your size, it is going to be very difficult to afford the place the next year. So the second thing, and I feel like this is very important, is to research your neighborhood. It is very important to know the kind of place that you're moving into, the kind of environment that you're moving into. Sometimes you can move into an environment just because the house is nice and it's your taste, but then again, like, what goes on in that neighborhood? Is it somewhere that is not safe, especially at night, especially if you're the kind of person that actually goes out a lot? You have to find out if the environment is family friendly, if you have a family and it's not just you. Considering that you're a girl, if you're a girl, you have to find somewhere that is kind of secure, that doesn't have so many guys, to the point where it's like a ras place. It's not even a matter of having so many guys around. It's like, what are the kind of people, who are the kind of people living in this place? Do they steal? Do they kidnap? Do they have any history of stealing, kidnapping? So you have to ask around. You literally have to ask around, like, how is the neighborhood? Do they steal people's gems? Do they barge into people's houses? Is it a notorious place? Is it somewhere livable, especially for a female? Is it somewhere that you actually see yourself living freely and not just always trying to be alert? And no, let me just say this, no matter where you are, please be alert, be conscious of your environment. So even if there's no history of anything negative, you still have to be alert, especially if you're a girl, you know, be security conscious. If you're someone that has a child or a family, is it safe for children to live here? Is it close to the market? Is it close to the road? Is it accessible to places that are very, like, necessary? A kiosk, a market. Is it far from your school? If you're a student, is it far from the church? Look for somewhere that is easily accessible to the places that you want to go, especially if you are not mobile, or even if you're mobile and you don't like living far from certain places like your school, if you're a student, you have to consider all of this. Also, the road leading to wherever you're staying, is it accessible? Is it too lonely? Is it drivable? If you have a car, is it somewhere that you can comfortably drive your car to or in? Because we know that there is bad road, right? But there are some bad roads that would mess up your car. There are some bad roads that if you drive your car in them for 2-3 times, your car would mess up. So when it rains, how is the environment? It's really important, because there are some places that when it rains, you literally can't step outside. Like, it's that bad. There's some places that flood. Can you deal with it? Can you not deal with it? You have to consider things like that. I don't think Harmattan is necessarily bad. It can't get that bad that you have to consider how it is during Harmattan. But yes, if you also want to consider how it is during the dry season, then that's fine. But me, definitely, I consider how the place is during the rainy season, how the road gets when it rains, and things like that. Another thing to really consider is the amenities. What does this apartment offer? Like, some houses come with the dishwasher, gas cooker, cookers, heaters as well. So what are the amenities? What does your apartment offer? And even if it's not your budget, it's fine. What are the things that you want this apartment to come with? Do you want it to come with an AC already? Do you want an apartment that comes with a heater? Do you want an apartment that comes with a dishwasher? Do you want an apartment that comes with everything? And obviously that's where your budget comes in. Is there running water? Is the water clean? Does the water run up to your apartment, or do you have to go outside to fetch water? What happens when the water finishes and you have to pump? Do you have to wait till there is light, or does the place have a general gen that they use to pump the water? And you know, we're in Nigeria, and that's why I'm saying these things. Is there a reasonable amount of power supply? For me, I consider a place that has at least 20 hours power supply, or at least within the range of 20 to 18 hours of power supply, because we're in Nigeria, you know. But I definitely want a place that has a good amount of power supply, just so that I won't have to always turn on my gen. And I just want a place that is very serene, a place that people don't always turn on their gens because of the noise and I have to film. So this is just me. So another thing to consider if you're mobile is the parking space. How big is the compound? If you have a car, like, can you park inside the compound? Do you not mind parking outside the compound, like outside the gates? How many cars are in the compound? If it's just a small compound and there are about like 5 to 6 cars, or let me say even if it's a big compound, they're like about, and the compound can only contain about 5 to 6 cars, and like your car is the 7th car, how are you going to park your car? Are you going to be struggling for parking space? Because sometimes it can really get bad and you start having beef with your neighbor over parking space. Parking your car outside is risky because of people stealing parts of cars and stuff like that. So how is the parking space? Do you not mind? Do you have a car? Do you not have a car? Is that something to consider? Is that not something to consider? And then last but not the least is the rules and regulations. So that place you're moving in, do they have rules? For example, some people like to be in a space or an apartment that has security, that they have a time for locking the gates and a time for opening the gates, just for security reasons. Are you the kind of person that you can't abide to rules? You don't want to be told when to come back, when not to come back, when to go out, when, and not necessarily like them telling you when to come back and when not to come back, but they're doing this, like, you know, to secure the environment. Are you the kind of person that likes to stay out very late past the time that the particular place will be closing, like the estates or apartments will be closing their gates? You have to consider that as well. Also, when it comes to dumping of refuge, which I feel like can go under the amenities, because some apartments are serviced apartments and they offer like people coming to take out the dumps, the refuges. And you know, if you're in a kind of apartment that doesn't have that kind of service, how do you dump your refugees? Do they provide somewhere that you can at least dump it and maybe you guys can burn it or throw it out? Like, how does it go? What are the rules? These are little things that you feel like might not matter, but they matter because some apartments don't offer these things. And when you look around the environment, there is no place to dump refuse, and you can't just leave it in front of your gate because it can definitely cause problem between you and the people living around that environment. So you definitely have to consider where you dump your refuge. Do they have rules and regulations? What is the security there looking like? Is the place secure? Like sometimes there can be fine buildings, fine beautiful apartments in a very ras location, and you might not know. So you have to definitely put all these things into considerations before moving into an apartment. Yeah, we've come to the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful, useful in one way or the other. If you did, definitely give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.